Hey everybody, it's Stacy,
And Rachel.
and we're back with the Civic Bitch Slap.
Yes. And
Yes,
Circle Back Mondays.
yes, and we are again doing it on Tuesday. You'll have to forgive us, but hopefully we can make it worth the wait. So
It's just
we'll.
another special Tuesday edition. I mean, people are just going to have to, we roll with it, right?
That's
Well,
right.
Stacy is pulling some things up real quick. If there's anything that you want us to cover, or questions that you may have for us, please email us at thecivicbitchslap@protonmail.com. Also, you can find us across all the social media spectrums from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook. And most importantly, where we'd really love for you to follow us and subscribe is on Rumble. And we
Rumble.
have a little green bell that you can, once you subscribe, that you can click that will notify you anytime we upload new content.
Okay, so let me share this first one here. And we've all heard the media going on ad nauseum about Dominion Voting Systems suing Mike Lindell and what so many retailers have done to cancel out the sales at MyPillow.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's not going to be a whole lot of discussion about the countersuit that he's filed, but it's really fascinating. It speaks to his courage, and I think we, as much of that as we can find and celebrate, we should do so.
Oh, most definitely. Another thing too, really quick, because the fallout for his company, I can't remember what the last count was, but I want to say it's well over 10 retailers have like removed his products from
Yeah.
their stores, and several places are actually clearancing him out in anticipation of canceling their contracts with him. But so he has, Stacey and I, we really like to follow Jack Posobiec on Twitter. He's an OAN news anchor, I guess you would call him. But he actually right now has, if you go to mypillow.com, and this is not an ad from us, I'm just sharing this with everybody in case you want some products. But if you use the code POSO, POSO, it's 50% off
That's
on
awesome.
mypillow.com right now. So
Yeah. So what I love seeing is every time there is someone who seems to be doing the right thing, and by the right thing, I mean allowing free speech or trying to employ good people and
right.
being outspoken against some sort of wrongdoing, who's punished for it. A lot of us rally and support him. I know I've never bought his products before. And when that happened, I ordered some things. I'm definitely going to be ordering things for like Mother's Day, Father's Day, all sorts of things that, people need good linens and good pillows and all those things all the
And
time.
towels. I was actually on there last night and I was like, ooh,
Yeah, I
like
got some
instead of
back
6
sheets.
towels, I've heard really good things about them. I'm
Yep.
like, I think I might get some towel sets.
Yep.
Who doesn't need some fresh towels? And I think if I remember properly, they come with a 10-year warranty.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
warranties their towels for 10 years?
I know. So what I think is interesting too is that both Mike Lindell and MyPillow.com are filing countersuits. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I think it was the MyPillow.com was a racketeering case because all of these different companies are colluding to shut down their business.
Oh,
So very
I
interesting.
love that he's fighting back. Like I feel like, there's been a lot of people on the right that cancel culture has come after. And I feel like people are finally like, no, screw you. You're not going to get away with this. I mean, we've seen you have, what's his name? Crowder is
Yeah.
suing Facebook. You have Candace Owens is suing Facebook. She's already won like a small portion of specific thing that she went after. I mean, there's several people, now like with Mike Lindell, he's just another one. I love it that people are fighting back.
Yeah. And I think it's our side wants peace. We're like, okay, well, we can, under being browbeaten about diversity, let's allow more of this or more of that. And it's the tool that they use to beat us over the head when it's not
Mm-hmm.
really diversity. It's listen to my opinion and keep yours to yourself.
Yep.
So, all right.
It's external diversity, but of thought, it's our way or the highway.
That's right. So this is a fascinating story, and I know that this is on a lot of different outlets.
Yes.
So the Washington Post is retracting the claim that Trump told Georgia election official to find the fraud. And what is so interesting about this is, so the Washington Post made this announcement or this report And every media outlet in the country, if not the world, followed suit immediately. And there was even talk that this was grounds for impeaching President Trump again. And nobody took the time. It was too good to fact check, is sort of the mentality of it. And earlier this week,
because they had sources.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so the Wall Street Journal got its hands on the actual audio file. And instead of letting them drop that piece of news, the Washington Post did their own retraction on their terms. It's so disgusting. So how much of what people believed from the media wasn't true? And this is just one thing.
I know. And he said when this came out, Trump even said, it's false. That is
fake
news. And he wasn't throwing that out there like he wasn't bloviating. He literally meant this is fake news. And he was right. I feel like this has happened a lot, particularly with him, where it is literally been fake news. And way of them to wait 2 months after the fact to make a retraction. I read an interesting article about how this methodology that they're using where they're intentionally putting things out there and then retracting later. There's actually a name for it. I forget what it's called, but there's a name within journalism for it. And they were talking about how this tactic of journalism can actually save America. So they were essentially
we're going to save you by lying to you.
Yes, because they don't think that people can actually handle the real truth at the beginning. They need to give them something different first and then give them the truth later, because
this is how much the media thinks of you, by the way.
Yeah.
So and here this tweet from Mark Hemingway says this kind of mistake is beyond serious. There's zero accountability in major corporate media anymore, yet they continually insist they're the ones holding the line of truth. And always remember, what should scare you about the media is what doesn't get exposed. And to that point, here we have Trump, who was completely innocent of doing what they said. And let's contrast that for a moment with Governor Andrew Cuomo. And so the media in the middle of the pandemic praised him for his handling of the coronavirus and said that he was presidential material in 2024. And it's taken 7 women to come out and accuse him of sexual misconduct or assault or whatever the case, for them to say, oh, maybe we should think about it. This is the same group of people who said nothing about Governor Northam, blackface, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he can do that. And I think, a lot of people are wise to what's going on in the media, but there needs to be a bigger price paid when these things are so blatant.
Yeah. At what point can you not hide behind the cloak of journalism anymore? If you're telling me that there's an actual tactic that you're intentionally putting out wrongful information with the intent of misguiding the American public, I feel like you can't, that press badge doesn't mean anything at that point. Yeah.
And especially when you think it's in contrast with wanting to utterly silence any opposition, any other voice. And that's not the intention of journalism at all.
This reminds me of the supposed, what were they on the plane when Trump made derogatory comments about the military?
Yeah.
And again, anonymous
sources,
but supposedly that conversation happened months before these sources if he really would have said that,
8 or 12 months earlier, right?
Yeah, no, that would, number one, you would have used that as soon as possible. And this just highlights the fact that is not the case.
So this next news item is a great example of something that we discuss, using issues as tools. So this is about a candidate for Attorney General, in Virginia, and he promises to declare Democrat gun laws unconstitutional. So he's a Black conservative. I think he's a veteran, but here's what I love this messaging. Chuck Smith vows to oppose Bloomberg-sponsored Democrats, calls big government gun grabs a hate crime.
Oh, I love that little twist.
Yes, I love that messaging.
Yes.
So it's really, this is a great way through a tool to appeal to a certain kind of voter and get their support. I'm sure that there are a lot of voters that he's alienating with this, but those are not the people who are going to vote for him in the first place.
This reminds me of something. I want to, this is a long time ago, but Chicago in Illinois is known for like horrendous gun
Gun
restrictions.
violence.
Yeah. But gun restrictions there
Oh,
too,
yeah.
particularly in Chicago. And I can't remember, it's been a while. I want to say this has almost been 10 years ago. So I don't remember whether this was at a state level, state legislature, or if this was within like Cook County or possibly even within the city of Chicago itself. But I remember reading about the fact that there were actually several Democrats in, whether it was city, county, or state, I don't remember, but from the Chicago area that were advocating for less restrictive gun laws, because within the Black community, and these were like Black politicians, Black elected officials, they're like, that you're taking away
Yep.
the one tool
That they
that
can
the Black
protect
community
themselves.
has to protect themselves. Like they are, then you're further victimizing the Black community. And I think that goes right along with what this gentleman in Virginia is basically saying.
Yeah. That's great.
Not exactly, but I mean, you're using the same kind of tactic of turning it around,
Yeah.
how they wouldn't expect, how the left wouldn't expect.
So one of the big missions from the left is to get all of our children to tell us that we're destroying the planet, and we're
Oh,
all supposed to become, more climate conscious. And
mm-hmm.
I think the United States goes to great extent already to try to do things to be responsible and to honor the environment,
Right.
while countries like China and India are a hot mess. And so I every time I hear it from somebody who's younger, I remember being about 10 years old in 1980 and being told that acid rain was going to be killing us. It was going to eat the paint off of our cars. I remember waiting in lines for gas. $2 at a time was all you could get. And even numbers got to go. If your license plate ended in an even number, you got to go on certain days, an odd number other days. And it was just crazy. And again, none of this is ever true. So
Yep.
with that in mind, here's this headline. It's from Breitbart, and it says, New York Times spread fake news that East Coast beaches would be gone by the year 2020.
I mean, I would like to say, I mean, even in my lifetime, I remember, there was going to be the polar ice caps were going to be completely gone. The
Yeah.
beaches in Florida were basically, Florida was going to shrink. There's one particular ida, is it like Star Island or something? There's some island off of like Miami where all the wealthy people live. That's going to be like completely underwater.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I've even heard the horror of what's going to happen if we don't
Yeah. And then, you
do
had
anything.
Al Gore. And if there's always a couple of common themes here, it's always some really uber rich people who aren't eating what they cook. They're just wanting to force feed it to us.
Yep.
And there's always some tyrannical, overreaching government action that includes some sort of ridiculous tax. You remember people buying carbon credits? Like it's
Yes.
supposed to talk about virtue signaling.
There are still some companies, I don't even know. There's somewhere that I shop and I can't even think of what it is right now, but you can actually click to like carbon offset your like purchase and stuff. And I remember thinking, but where does that go? To what
Into somebody
company?
else's pocket.
And how are they actually, you can't prove you're offsetting jack crap. No, I'm not giving you more of my money. Like, what's insane to me is that what's really interesting is that there's a way you can easily tell what someone's true agenda is, right? Like if someone's true agenda is about conserving more, being responsible, then certain elements shouldn't matter, right? So if I'm, like if I recycle and I try to be like reuse things or upcycle them or what have you, then yay, like I'm doing my part. But because I'm not thinking, like I don't have leftist theology, then that's not enough, right? And because I'm not transferring my dollars and doing that to some other company to give them more like corporate power, that's not enough. Does that make sense?
Right.
So
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
you can always tell, is that really what it's about? No, because if that's really what it was about, then it almost wouldn't even be a left right thing, because most people do not have an issue putting glass in a glass recycling container. You know
No,
what I
not
mean?
at all. Not at all.
But no, it's about control. It's about controlling you and controlling where dollars go and transferring dollars and the messaging. And at the end of the day, your ideology.
Yes. So within the links of this article is the actual clip from the New York Times. Many beaches around the world at the most likely rate of rise, some experts say most of the beaches on the east coast of the United States would be gone in 25 years. They're already disappearing at an average of 2 to 3 feet a year. It's such,
This is 1995.
yeah.
Like they really think that, like, I feel like 25 years is, someone didn't think that through. Like 25 years is goes by like that. Did they really believe that? Or that like no one's gonna look back and go, what did you say 25 years ago?
Yeah. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share this next clip, and it's it just,
I mean, we're
flies-
supposed to be all driving, we're all supposed to be flying around in jet cars, right? Like I think every child drew like
The
driving
Jetsons.
or flying around in little jet cars.
Yep. Yeah.
Still waiting on that.
Well, there
Anyway,
are all those Prius out there, unfortunately.
that's true.
Okay. So this is something else that flies in the face of the narrative from the media
Yes.
following the incidents at the Capitol on January 6th. And I think this is queued up to the right place.
Definitely very.
How many firearms were confiscated in the Capitol or on Capitol grounds during that day?
To my knowledge, we have not recovered any on that day from any other arrests at the scene at this point. But I don't want to speak on behalf of Metro and Capitol Police,
Okay.
but to my knowledge, none.
So
And the
I'm
headline
sorry,
to
that
go
was a
along with
horrible
that,
cackle.
yeah, is FBI confesses to Congress that no guns have actually been recovered from the so-called Capitol siege. And so that was Senator Ron Johnson asking, I
I
don't know
love
who she is,
him.
but someone from the FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah. To my
And-
knowledge, none. But I can't speak for
No.
the other departments, but to my knowledge, none.
So this was a
Quite an
riot,
insurrection.
a riot and an insurrection without any guns. Now let's compare and contrast that to the media's narrative about the Antifa and Black Lives Matter, mostly peaceful protests.
Right?
I'm so
It's
sorry.
insane, the violence and weapons that are there.
Yeah.
Which we won't go down this, but everyone needs to be praying for Minneapolis this summer or this
Oh,
year
I
over
know.
that trial. That's going to be those poor people,
Yep.
businesses. Anyway,
So back with, oh, hold on just a second. Let me clear this up. The whole narrative about President Trump.
hey, while you're pulling that up, did you see that the Biden administration has come out and said that they've been trying to get a hold of the government of North Korea and no one has responded back?
I totally missed that, but
For
that
like the last 2 months, the administration came out and said that they've been trying since February and have gotten no response. I hate to laugh, but I mean,
I don't even know where to go with that.
I know.
Like, do you actually believe it? If you, I mean, it might not be believable, but at the same time, they're probably like, pound sand. We don't deal with weenies like you. Bring back 4 more years.
Oh,
Even
that's so
the
funny.
Koreans are not interested.
Yeah. Sorry.
So-
Anyway, that came to my head while you're pulling this up, but
So this is from the Daily Wire, and we have been suffering as a nation and as communities, and even now we have all these restrictions on our behavior and on our business conduct. Parents not allowed to attend sporting events with their kids. So
Yeah.
many awful things. And here's this headline. Reports, migrants are being released in states after testing positive for COVID. And the Customs and Border Patrol, I think, is super frustrated. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. This is what's going on, and we can't quarantine them. Even though they test positive, they're going to leave the next day. They're going to get on the bus or the airplane and they're gone. And this is what they're allowing to happen. Like, isn't that grounds to impeach the president? Because look what you're exposing our people to something that has cost so many lives and so much
Yeah.
money.
You would think so, but keep in mind that the Democrats allowed people who were positive to come into the floor and vote for Speaker of the House, so Nancy could get her queenship back.
I'm looking for another headline that I just want to add to the lineup, and it's really
I
good.
saw that smile. It's going to be a good one.
Okay.
But I mean, really, like the new response, can we just be flippant? Oh, follow the science. But now it's like, oh, can I identify as an illegal alien and be like, oh, I'm good. I can go wherever I want and do whatever. It doesn't matter whether I'm positive or negative. Oh my gosh, I saw this tweet or someone shared it maybe on Instagram. I don't remember, but it was like they were equivocating the COVID vaccine. And it was like, imagine a contraceptive vaccine, except once you get the contraceptive vaccine, you can still get pregnant or get someone pregnant and you still have to wear a condom.
Yes.
It's basically
So
equivalent
awesome.
to the COVID vaccine. You can still pass it. You can still get it. Oh, and you still have to wear a mask. What the hell is the point?
Okay, so y'all are going to get Rachel's full on reaction to this
Oh gosh,
headline.
here we go.
Ready? Yeah.
What?
Gavin Newsom blames Proud Boys and QAnon for recall campaign as deadline for signatures approaches. So Gavin Newsom is blaming what he's calling right-wing militia groups for the recall effort. It's not about
This man is so out of touch. If California does not recall him, I mean, I feel like this is their last. Like, come on, like, give us something. Recall this a-hole who
yeah.
goes and dines at the freaking French Laundry and does whatever the heck he wants, sends his kids to private schools.
Yeah.
Really? He's going to blame the Proud Boys and
destroying
QAnon?
the economy, keeping these kids out of school. So California, 3% of their students are back in school. 3%. And yeah, but it's none of that. It's not that they're destroying the economy. It's not that he's a total hypocrite. It's the right wing's fault again. The devil made me do it.
He is so out of touch.
Oh,
It is just wow.
okay.
Wow.
I think that was worth a little drive-by.
That was worth a little drive by. Well, and we're going to have, just to recap, all of the links to everything we talk about, as always, goes into the show notes so that you can
Go and look this stuff.
go and look all this stuff up, because if you're like, that is insane, you can
Okay.
actually read along.
So this speaks to the danger of Section 230 and the hypocrisy of Twitter.
Yes.
This is unbelievable. So also,
Mhm.
just to put it into context, President Trump did more than any president I can ever remember to help victims of human trafficking and sex trafficking, and was really aggressive. And immediately Joe Biden stopped all of that.
Yeah.
Which sort of let the floodgates open for really bad actors. And now this Twitter, who has put itself out there as the bastion of all things good and proper, they're the arbiter of decency because, after all, they did remove Trump because it was just not good.
Such a mean tweeter, but we don't care about terrorists and ayatollahs and dictators using our platform. And
sex traffickers. So apparently Twitter's being sued and they're using Section 230 to avoid child sex trafficking.
Anybody, you can search, spend some time, go DuckDuckGo, Bing, wherever, and search. You can find, I wish there weren't, but there are countless stories of particularly women, because they're not that men and boys aren't trafficked, but predominantly it's female children and women, of them trying to get content of their abuse and rape and whatever taken off of these platforms,
and they won't do it,
and the hell that they have to go through to get it removed, and sometimes they can't get it removed, should just disgust you. These companies have no moral high ground. They cannot stand and say that we're doing this, to try to, have a positive,
let the
impact.
marketplace, play
No.
out.
they're full of crap.
So we talk an awful lot on the show about getting involved in local issues, and this next article is about that. But before I share it with you, I want to share with you a little bit of the testimony that was given by one of the lawmakers involved in this piece of legislation in Ohio on federal gun control. So it says, many people will focus on whether or not the state has the authority to deem a federal act unconstitutional. We can have that debate, but it is irrelevant to the question at hand. The state of Ohio can refuse to enforce any federal law or implement any federal program for whatever reason it chooses, or for no reason at all. You could prohibit state and local agencies from enforcing federal gun control just because it's Thursday and there's snow on the ground.
Wow.
Yeah. So states' rights, that's where it's at.
I love that.
Yeah.
And who wrote that?
So that here's the actual article. So it was the
Oh, it was
author of this.
testimony.
Yes. So Mike
Okay.
Mahari. And yes, so this is fabulous. This has been such a great
I love that.
experiment in states' rights and state legislatures and sharing with one another exactly what's working and what's not. And boy, I want to tell you, if you live in a red state that's not passing conservative legislation, standing up to the tyrannical federal government we are now facing, you have a problem in your state house and you need to get busy.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
And there are ample, maybe this is a good topic for, I know we talked on an episode a little while back on different legislation. We contrasted like red states and blue states, what they're doing, but there are so many different ideas and things that you can do. You can pull from other states, or if you know kind of what your state needs or how you should push back. There are so many different issues you can use as tools right now. I feel like right now is literally like the perfect time to do it. It's
Yeah.
a perfect time to get out there to try to strengthen your state, to try to use the issues as tools to showcase the people in your state house, who their true colors and who they really are.
Yeah, what really matters to them? Are they really for you? Lobby this sort of legislation in front of them. Ask them to sponsor it. If they're
Right.
your lawmakers, and I'm not going to throw that flippant "they work for you" sort of crap around. I hate when people do that. But
Yep.
if you go to them and you ask them to sponsor legislation and help work on it, you're going to get a lot of information about who they really are, depending on how they respond. And I know it's not the nature of this particular series to be teaching how to do this, but it's low hanging fruit, and we can't
Yes.
not address it.
No, I 100% agree.
So that wraps up today's episode of Circle Back Tuesday.
Yes. I love it.
Maybe
Yes.
we'll get back on Mondays, but
But here's the thing. We understand, right? Like, we have lives. We're moms. We're wives. Like, we understand.
business owners.
But yet it's still possible to be involved. Sometimes you gotta go with the flow.
Yep. So
But
thanks for
here.
listening. We really appreciate it. And we will see you on an episode very soon.
Yes. Bye.